Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by the babysitter. Am I the jerk for calling the police when the parents I babysit for were late? I, 16F, sometimes babysit on weekends. My mom's coworker needed a babysitter, and she gave him my number. I agreed to babysit 3 kids from 2 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. because the parents had some party to get to. It went okay, but the parents didn't get back at 8:30. At 9 I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. I texted a few times. At 9:30 I tried calling again, and again at 10 and 10:30. I tried calling my parents, but my dad was at a work dinner and my mom didn't pick up. I tried calling the parents of the kids again, but they still weren't picking up or responding. At 11:30-ish I called the police because I didn't know what else to do, and I was worried something might have happened to the parents too. They came, and around the same time the parents came back. The dad screamed at me, and he's still very upset. Edit. I called the police because I was worried about the parents not picking up or being late, and because I really had to get home. Not to involve CPS or anything like that. Edit 2. Since some people asked, I didn't call the emergency number. I'm not in the US. Police isn't violent here. And I was paid up front, so not for the extra 3 hours. This was a response to a few comments. I don't think all US cops are violent. Our next post is by Outrageous Share. Am I the jerk for kicking my mother-in-law out of my house for trying to convince my daughter to give her baby to my sister-in-law? I, 34F, have been married to my husband for 10 years. We have 2 daughters together, 7 and 5. I have a daughter from a high school relationship who is 17. My daughter is 7 months pregnant. The father is in her life. They both are working hard saving money. I've already had the necessary talks with my daughter, but she is dead set on being a mother to this child. My sister-in-law, 35, has struggled with fertility and basically has been told she cannot have children. They've been actively trying or just not using protection for the past 10 years, and only conceived twice, ending in early miscarriages. My mother-in-law already brought up the idea of letting sister-in-law adopt this baby, which we told her my daughter's wishes. The other day I came home from work and my mother-in-law was over, and I overheard her talking to my daughter about that idea, telling her how she wouldn't be fit to be a mother, and sister-in-law is much more prepared, and how she wouldn't want to repeat the cycle. BC, I had her so young. She then pulled a guilt trip and told her how sister-in-law's dream is for a child. I simply opened the door and just said, "Get out." She stared at me in complete disbelief, then said I couldn't kick her out of her son's house. I said I can, and I just did. She left, but then when my husband got home from work, he said she had left a ton of messages about how in the wrong I am and how I'm setting my daughter up for failure. My husband's on my side. Am I the jerk? Our next post is by Existing Ring. Am I the jerk for not passing on an heirloom to my daughter-in-law? I am 48F and my eldest is 22M. He's been with his fiancée daughter-in-law since they were 20 and he wants to marry her. I'd always liked her before now. She's a smart girl, she fits in well with the family, she's driven, and she makes my son happy. Everything was all roses until they got engaged. Now, since I was little, I was fascinated with jewelry. When I was older and married and had my own income, I started to collect rings. I would design them myself, used to ask friends and family to give me cash I could put towards them, and save up my disposable income towards whatever ring I wanted. Edit 2. Okay. Apparently this above paragraph is controversial. It is the custom of my family since always to give cash in celebrations. It's also very normal in my community to ask your friends to give cash. I have done this myself for my friends. However, the majority of the cost of each piece of jewelry was always borne by me. Whatever I got from birthdays was a bonus top-up, not something I relied on to be able to afford it. It would be less than 10% of each piece, definitely not the bulk. 10% being the highest, but mostly it was around the 3 to 4% mark, if any. Sorry, but quite a few comments are being derailed by this. I wasn't buying one every year, but over time I have a nice collection of rings. My favorite are a sapphire with a halo of diamonds, an emerald in a trilogy with 1-quart diamonds either side, and a ruby set in a pavé band. After son got engaged and we invited him and daughter-in-law to dinner at home, daughter-in-law asked to speak to me. She said she's been seeing my emerald ring over the years and she has always wanted one. She pointed out that I wear it least often, which is true, and demanded that I gift it to her as an heirloom engagement ring. This is in addition to other wedding gifts and expenses we had discussed as a family during dinner. This includes gold to the value of approximately £6,000, which is honestly more than my entire wedding cost, and which I still think is a significant amount. This rubbed me the wrong way, and I admit I accused her of trying to pick through my estate before I'm even dead. I told her the ring is mine, and I can even sell it on my deathbed if I want to. She has no right to expect it, and she's being a rude brat by demanding it. She yelled at me that something like this can't just be sold. It should be an heirloom, and it's normal for heirlooms to be passed on while the wearer is still alive. I told her to leave if she was just in my home to demand my property, and she stormed out, taking my son with her. She's mad at me, and son says I should have just passed the ring to her since I have others and it would be a nice gesture to welcome her to the family. He says it's no different than his sister occasionally borrowing some of my pieces. My husband and my daughter are on my side, but this is the first time my son has shut me out like this, so am I the jerk? Our next post is by Interesting Web. Am I the jerk for laughing at my brother's girlfriend after she asked me why none of us like her? My 20FS brother, Mark 23M, has been with his girlfriend, 22F Jane, for a year. She is one of the most passive-aggressive, snarky people you will ever meet. Her middle name is Petty. The thing that caused our family to keep her at arm's length was when she got mad at our mom for accommodating our younger sister's autism and not force-feeding her, as well as allowing her to read at the table, something that calms her down. She got on mom's ass for enabling an entitled brat. Another example was when my mom supported Mark's decision to get the tattoo he had been saving up for years. Jane proceeded to call mom up to complain that he made the deposit with his hard-earned, saved money and had an appointment set. She told mom that she wasn't going to allow this emotional incest anymore, and that she's happy to make an appointment for all of us for family therapy, as this enmeshment is making her uncomfortable. She has continued to make comments like these, specifically to mom, and it's disgusting how little respect she has for pretty much everyone but herself. She's not been invited to Christmas this year, but Mark is. It's unclear what they're planning to do yet. A few days ago, Jane called me as mom had blocked her. She said she was 3 months pregnant and went on a long rant about the family dynamic. She then asked, "Why don't you all like me?" I laughed out of pure shock and asked if she was serious. She didn't even respond, just said, "I'll call you when you're in the mood to be more mature," and hung up. I told mom about the situation and she's on my side, but Mark is fuming at me for laughing at Jane's question and angry at mom for being on my side. Mom just told him that he needs to talk to Jane about her constant comments and insults and she's expecting an apology. Mark won't talk to me and Jane blocked my number. Am I the jerk? Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.